Professor Orta, Dr. Orta, is from the education school, and she is Cuba-born and has gone with me on another trip. The last time I did this with a group was 17 ladies, all high maintenance, and my wife.
Except me.
And we had a great time, and Sylvia led us through the last time. This time the format's a little differently, and we'll talk about that. So I guess we can start now.
Okay.
All right. You want to lead off?
Sure. Okay, well, I'm Fred Forgy. I'm the director of the master's program in real estate. And so for the past couple of years, we've been taking our students on cruises. This past year, we did a Key West, Cozumel, Grand Cayman tour focused on sustainability. So this year, whenever the Cuban opportunity became available, well, Tom and I started talking and decided this would be a great opportunity for us to sort of partner together. And my students would basically look at real estate related issues. His students would look at entrepreneurship related issues. And so, in essence, what we've done is we found this cruise that Fathom operates, and Fathom is owned by Carnival. And they have basically a week-long cruise. If you've looked at the website, you probably have a little bit of idea of sort of how it works. But in essence, the way that it kind of is set up, we leave Miami Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon at 4:30 and spend basically all day Monday at sea. Then we end up landing here in Santiago de Cuba on Tuesday, and we're there from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. While we're there, we'll have a number of site visits with universities, business officials.
Yeah, if I can cut you off.
Yeah.
What the plan is at each location to go to local university. And that's not easy. Sylvia is working hard on that, and communications is slow. But we think by the time we get there, we'll have this all wired. The dean and I were at the University of Havana in April, end of April, and at the U.S. Embassy. So we don't think that's going to be a problem. But and for those who don't know, the University of Havana was established in 24, 28. It's been there forever. And it's a good institution. It's a very good school. So part of this will be university mornings, pretty much, and then the afternoon visitations of what's going on there. So excuse me.
And I'll talk a little more about the schedule here in a second, but just to kind of fill you in on the details here. So we're there from 9 to 6 p.m., get back on board the ship, and then the next day on Wednesday at 2 p.m., we'll be in Cienfuegos from 2 to 8 p.m. Then we'll leave there, spend Thursday at sea, and then be in Havana on Friday morning at 8 a.m., and then we'll be there overnight, although you'll be staying on board the ship. We'll be departing then on Saturday at 4 p.m., and then getting back to Miami Sunday morning at 7:30. So that's kind of the week. Now, what I've done is I've given you, one of the handouts is kind of a block schedule, in essence, of what's happening sort of each day in terms of kind of the class component, as well as kind of when we're going to be in each city. And so is what you can see is that we've tried to get it scheduled where we've got 30 contact hours like you would in any other 3-credit class that you would take, so that we're filling all of that within 1 week. So as you can see, on the first day, on Monday, we would actually have class from 8 o'clock until lunchtime for 4 hours, be meeting there on board the ship with Professor Tuwager, myself, and a handful of other folks. And then the next day in Santiago, the entire time we're in Santiago, as I said, we'll be meeting with folks.
We're going to tell them afternoon, we're going to cut you guys loose.
Right.
There are bars on the ship, you probably figured that out. Pool and things to do.
But
it could be, interrupting it, they have very good cultural classes on these ships. This is Fathom was kind of invented a new brand, it's .org.com, and they do some humanitarian stuff. You also have some stuff that they're into the culture of the countries. So it could be that we want you to attend a class from like 3 to 4 that they're doing, and then we'll have 1 hour left what we're doing. So it's 4 hours of instruction, but it could be broken up depending on, we haven't got their firm schedule.
Right. So this is just at least to give you a general idea so that you kind of have an idea of what to expect. But the time that we're on the ground, at least in Santiago and Cienfuegos, and the majority of Friday in Havana will all be class related. The unallocated time in Havana, ideally, that would be time that you could explore on your own and sort of enjoy, what there is to enjoy in Havana, with some limitations, and we'll talk more about that later. But in essence, this at least gives you some sort of an idea of at least the kind of the commitment to the class time experience. Now,
they have Saturday pretty much free on that.
At the moment. Now, keep in mind, all of this is fluid, and the reason for that is because we're locking down who we're meeting with, when we're meeting with them, trying to get all of that, you know, firmly established. And so that won't happen until probably a few days before we actually leave. So at the moment, this is just at least to kind of give you at least a ballpark idea of the expectation of the class sessions. Now, you know, we're not going to keep you in class for 60 hours, you know, but you might have to go a few more than 30, just depending on kind of how things get allocated, okay? The other couple of handouts, this one is about the ship. I think you've been sent this one previously. This just gives you a little bit of an idea of what to expect in terms of what the ship is like. And, you know, it's a...
How many in this group want to bring a guest with them? Anybody? Not sure yet.
Okay.
You
So,
already got the permit from your wife, or?
Permission.
so with the ship, they've completely renovated it. It's basically brand new in the sense, I mean, it's an older ship, but they completely renovated it this year specifically to start the voyages, I think back in March of this year. I actually been on the cruise myself back in July. It's an absolutely amazing ship and an amazing adventure. So definitely, you know, recommend it. But we will, you know, get you all the details about kind of getting on board the ship in terms of registration process, that sort of thing. What we're going to need from you in the short term is the release of liability. Now, this is just a kind of a standard form that the university has provided us with, just basically absolving the university of any sort of legal liability with respect to the trip. If you want to take a copy of this with you, feel welcome to do so, but we are going to need a signed copy of this before, obviously, we can get you registered on the trip. Now, in terms of what we do sort of from here is, if you're interested, what we will have to do is collect the $500 deposit from you by October 31st, which is Monday. And the way that that payment is going to take place, and I'll actually send this to you as an electronic version so you can just actually click on the link, but you can actually hard code enter it based on what's written here, and this will take you to a thing called Marketplace. And on that Marketplace, there's a little drop-down menu that says deposit $500. You click on that, enter in your information, credit card information, and then it automatically sends me an email. Yes, you've made your deposit. Okay, now you're on the list.
And this is owned by the university. This is internally.
Right.
And that's how they...
Do you use international credit card for this payment?
I would assume so.
Okay.
Because I mean, whatever would work with making payment to Nova.
Well, here's the thing. If it, for some reason it doesn't, don't wait on Monday. And you want to bring cash to Dr. Forgy, he'll use his credit card.
Okay.
All right? We'll split the cash.
We'll figure out how that works. And you know, one thing to take note of, if you actually hop online right now to sort of see what the current pricing is, just to kind of give you perspective, whenever they set this up, the original price per person would be about $3,300, okay? And so we've gotten a special deal where we've been able to get it down to roughly about $2,000, but then we've also are subsidizing part of that as part of the university. So as students, you're only having to pay $1,500, okay? And that's all inclusive, and that includes, once again, your meals, all the transportation, gratuities, everything is already included for the $1,500 price point. If you take a guest, you pay, effectively they pay the full price of $2,000, and so that could be anyone that you potentially want to bring with you. Now, here's the way that, in essence, it's going to have to work. Before you make your deposit on Monday, you need to identify, number one, if you're going to bring a guest or not, and if you are, then we need to know that, okay? If you're not going to bring a guest...
We need a name.
Yeah, we need a name. And if you're not going to bring a guest, then what we're going to do is, obviously, we'll be just randomly assigning you to a room with somebody else within the travel group. If you already know someone within the travel group that you want to room with, you just let us know, and we can go ahead and take care of that when we're setting it up.
Us means Fred.
Yeah, and the reason for that is because, believe it or not, the cruise lines are really persnickety about this. I mean, to the point of, you make any sort of changes, and they want to charge you an extra $150, $200 just to change a name on a room, okay? So this is the sort of thing we need to have this locked in before we start making all of the final bookings, okay? Once those bookings have been made, you know, it's pretty much locked in, all right? And so from
And your
that,
deposit's not refundable, because we have to give it up.
the deposit's not refundable if you are selected to go on the trip.
Right.
Yeah, but like, for example, let's say that we get 30 people that want to go on this from the entrepreneurship group, then what we're gonna have to do is prioritize based upon who's closest to graduation and who has made their payment in full. So based on those two.
Well, their deposit, right?
Right, their deposit, but ultimately it's who
Right.
pays first and who's closest to
We'll
graduation.
have a waiting list. We'll have
Right.
a couple of backups in
But,
case, you know.
but this will happen very quickly, is what I guess, you know, want to say. This is not the sort of thing we're gonna be, you know, waiting around, because we actually have to make these payments to the cruise ship pretty much at the same time, okay? So it's not like there's, you know, gonna be a multiple day turnaround on this, and that's part of the reason why I'm sending around the sign-up sheet, is to get your email, to get your telephone number, and other information, so that I've got all of that, and I can kind of begin to.
From this point forward, we're not doing any more email blasts. Just the people that come to this and then the group from travel.
Okay, so that is, so once then you've made the payment, both of the deposit as well as the $1,000 or $1,500 final payment if you're a guest, then what I will do is I will give you the booking number from Fathom, and then you will be able to then hop on their website, enter in all of your personal information in terms of passport information, emergency contacts.
Okay, let's stop there now. Is anybody here Cuban born?
We've got at least one person in our
Okay,
group. that
here's
is.
the only caveat for them. They have to get their own visa. We have ways to do that. That's gotta happen very quickly, because it takes a little while to get the visa.
And,
Everybody
and,
else.
and they don't put in the passport, it's just a slip visa, visa.
That's probably,
International, is that okay?
no, it doesn't, well, I don't know the answer to that.
That would be,
US
that would be a question for someone in the international office.
No, they told me today, though, I don't think that's
What
gonna
was
be an
his
issue.
question?
He's an international student in terms of the visa.
That's not gonna be an issue. The issue they had on the cruise line was they would supply visas for all our passengers. And when you put your passport in, you know, they didn't say specifically US. We'll double check that, just to be sure. I don't think it's gonna be an issue. How many guys are not US citizens? Okay, I really don't expect that to be a problem, but we've never done this before, so, and Cuba's a little bit different than the other countries we go to. So we'll check it, we're gonna talk to, the person in charge of the whole group thing they're out in Seattle, actually. We're gonna talk to them tomorrow morning, we'll make sure, can you put that on your list, and we'll make sure we cover that. I don't think it's gonna be a problem, they were concerned about Cuban boards. The Cuban government's a little bit, not funny about it, but they're just, they wanna have a special visa for them. They're not gonna keep them or anything, it's just that, you know, it's one of those quirks thing. And while we're on the subject, let me just take 1 second. I've spent a lot of time in islands over the years, and there is, and don't be offended, Sophia, because I love your country, your old country. There is an island mentality that is a little slower pace. And we're going to a country that's been communist for how many, 60 years, 50 years, a long time. And so if you go there thinking everything's gonna work, and it's gonna work quickly, you're gonna get frustrated. So what we tell people, even when we go to other parts of the world, not just Cuba, you gotta have a half-speed mentality, or you're gonna get frustrated. And we're gonna plan things, and it's just not gonna happen. We're gonna have some kind of thing where it's on our schedule, and we're gonna substitute something else, because something's gonna come up. So just gotta be aware of that. And listen, we haven't said this yet. This is gonna be a lot of fun. This is gonna be a course, and we've gotta get your 30 contact hours in, and you're gonna do a project, which is a journal. You're gonna keep a journal every day of what you did and your reflections on that. And that's how you're gonna be graded. There'll be a grade for this course, a regular grade. It's not a pass-fail thing. So we're serious about it, and Fred will talk more about the journal. And you know, once we're on the ship, we're kind of Tom and Fred and Sylvia, but you know, around here we're doctor this, doctor that. So we really want this to be relaxed and have a great time. But you gotta know going in that we're going to a different place. And I've been there 3 times now in the last few years, and then as a child, I was born in Miami. That was a family vacation because my dad had a dairy plant, a little dairy plant in Miami, and he ran as a consultant all the dairies in Cuba. And he spent a week a month in Cuba. So as a kid, that was my vacation place. And so I have a lot of great memories, and the people are wonderful, and the rum's great too. All right, Fred, I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
So, just kind of get back to some of the details, so once the payment is made, as I said, I'll have a booking number for you, and then I'll be able to give that to you, and then once you've got that, then you'll be able to get on the Fathom website, enter in all of your personal information, including your passport, emergency contacts, all that sort of stuff. You also have to check a couple of items for the Cuban government with regard to this is for educational purposes and so
Well, that's
forth, so on.
important.
It's a disclosure thing, and I'll walk you through all of that. And then once that's pretty much done, then you're good to go. And, you know, ultimately the last step is just really showing up on December the 11th, and then we're ready to go, okay?
Ships don't wait. So, he has on there, at 2 o'clock, we're gonna meet as a group. And, most of the groups meet 4 hours before the trip. We don't need 4 hours, but we do need a couple hours. So 2 o'clock's a real deadline. We just have to lock in on that.
So, with that, any sort of general questions? Yep.
In terms of like, if we have family there, like I have family there, will we be able to see them?
Where are they?
Havana, and
Sure.
then, other places.
You know what the answer is?
as well?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's a very emotional, we went with a group,
And I can help you with that.
Oh,
we went with a group, a strategic forum group that meets here once a month. There's a lady on the trip that hadn't been there since she was a little girl. It's a big deal.
yeah.
Now, have you been there before?
No,
Wow,
no.
so that's really neat.
Yeah.
Emotional, but.
Yeah, the answer to that question is absolutely yes.
Okay.
And the government has no problem with that. Our government or their government.
Okay.
And we can talk about that. When I went down last time, I brought a couple bags of pharmaceuticals. You know, they have a hard time getting anything, and soaps and Advil. So you want to communicate with them and see what they need. The thing is, they need everything. And even to the point, sometimes, when Sylvia's with his first trip, we left pretty much all our clothes. And she was arranged for the Catholic Church to have this for us. So, we'll talk, we'll have more meetings, we'll talk more, but it's really a neat, sneak answer for us, of course. Yes?
Like for the classes that we're gonna take, I already finished the sales marketing. Can I substitute another?
International
class?
trade.
International trade, perfect.
That's late in the deal, so.
Okay,
Okay.
I just wanted to know.
You said that we were free to do certain days while we're on the island with certain exceptions. Did you go over those exceptions?
Well, I mean, okay, the bottom line is we can't have anybody thrown in jail. Okay, let's just put it bluntly. So, you know.
It's really a best behavior kind of situation.
Right,
I mean,
because-
we don't tell you guys are adults, but.
I mean, we're gonna be meeting with the US Embassy Friday morning whenever we're there in Havana. And one of the things that they made clear to Tom whenever he was there previously was that, you know, if something like that happens, they've gotta hire a fixer to basically go and try to, you know, resolve the
We're
situation.
bringing Sylvia.
You know, so, I mean, it really is a, you know, a serious sort of thing that we can't have a situation of where, you know, our folks are going out and
Getting
doing stuff that's stupid and getting themselves thrown in jail or worse, so.
Take the Olympics. We don't want to repeat that.
Yeah, we are going as learners, no, of what is happening
And we're
in
guests.
Cuba. And we're not going to change anything in one day, so just go with the flow, see what you want to do, talk to whoever you want to talk, because they're not going to refrain you from talking to anyone. Actually, 20 years ago, and I was still living in Cuba, I was the liaison of Hayazinga groups of students to Havana, 3 or 4 of them, and we never had an issue. And I'm talking 20 years ago when everything was totally closed. Talk about closed economy, that was beyond closed. We never had an issue. We had a lot of fun. We used to go to Varadero and have fun in the evening. As far as you're, respectful person, and that's what you are.
You know, Varadero is a beautiful beach community that's about
That would be
2
next
hours,
time.
2.5 hours. We won't have time this trip. But I was there last time, because as a child I went there. It hasn't changed, there's a lot of big hotels, it hasn't changed much. You'll be surprised the amount of money the Europeans, Canadians have spent developing things already. There's magnificent hotels there, and I like the old hotels better, but we stayed one night, we got pushed out of our hotel because they had overbooked another group. Chanel took our rooms. So we ended up with this incredible Mejia hotel, Spanish hotel. It's one of the fanciest rooms I've ever stayed in. It's unbelievable suites they put us in. So it's not, you're thinking, of third world is fun. The old cars are great, and all that stuff's great, and the people are highly educated. It's a very interesting deal. You'll find it just fascinating. I really love it.
The cruise ship, I'm assuming, is not solely reserved for us.
No.
No, there's 700 passengers on the ship.
700? Okay, are they all students?
No.
or-
No, we're the only, or to our knowledge, we're the only student group.
Okay.
There'll be other groups, but not universities that we know of. We don't know.
Yeah, we just don't know.
Okay. It took us, the reason this ran so late, guys, we would never do this to you, we do it 6 months ahead of time, is that we kept negotiating with these guys. We couldn't, there's only one cruise ship that does this. And has anybody had Professor Torrent yet for finance? Okay, was half the employees at Carnival reported to her. And she's a CPA and she was executive VP of operations. So she finally put us together with somebody who could say, let's make a deal. Because you guys, we're not gonna, who's gonna pay $3,000 for half a room? That's not gonna happen. So then we got to these rates and worked it out, and she was involved in helping us negotiate that. So these guys have a monopoly, the Fathom Group, but it's a very unique, look, go online and read about it. It's an interesting way of doing cruising now, because
Yeah.
people don't just wanna take cruises.
It's a different concept.
It's a very different concept, but a very nice ship. And Fred's been on it, so it was,
Yeah, just, if you want to just sort of check out the website, you can go right as I just did and click on book a trip, and you'll see that for a double occupancy room, what we're providing you, the actual cost for the two people combined would be $5,200, so basically $2,600 a person, all right? So, as I said, you're getting it for $1,000 less as a student, and basically $600 less as a guest.
So is the standard we're getting the
Interior
room?
cabins, yep.
now you can upgrade. And that cost is, we have those numbers, if anybody's interested. I got it
But
right
it's
over here.
Yeah, it's a substantial increase.
The window rooms are, I got some math here, guys. I didn't bring that.
And if you want a single room, then it's also,
Yeah.
basically what a single room ends up being is you take the price that you're paying, you cut it in half, and then you basically are paying for like an extra $750 or $1,000 if you want a single room, okay? Yep.
I see that there's a lot of classes here, and would you mind telling us what are those classes?
Give me just one second to answer the question. I think that the window rooms, I'll get you the exact price. If you're interested, just call me. They're gonna be, let's see, make sure I get it right. Fred, look at me here. So we got all these fees.
Yeah, I think.
Like $2,300 for, do we have it anywhere about $2,300 per person for the window room?
Yeah.
And the balcony room is gonna be
Like
about $27.
$2,700 per person. So it's a lot more expensive, obviously, if you do want a room with a balcony.
I'm within $100, okay? And I'll nail it down, whatever it is, I'll nail it down.
Yeah,
But that's the, and the single supplement, as what Fred was saying, is 50% more than your rate.
So that was,
Now, that's not exactly true, because you only pay the fees once. So your single supplement's gonna be,
We can get you the precise number.
if you decide you want your own room, call us up and we'll nail
Yeah,
it
we
down.
can work on that on a one case, sort of basis. But, okay, you had a question about the class part.
Yeah, I wanted to know what subjects will be covered on the classes.
Okay, Tom, you wanna take your part? I'll take my part.
Yeah, well, I mentioned first that we're gonna have, the ship has lots of cultural events. When I went to the University of Atlanta, we met with 5 women who were top administrators in the school. It was really interesting. And they said, what do you want us to do for you? And I said, well, before I answer the question, tell me how you feel about the changes. And then the oldest lady in the group gave me a history lesson of how badly we've been treating them over the years. And so finally I said, when they got the Spanish-American War and Teddy Roosevelt, I said, look, I look this old, but I really wasn't there. And most people who live in this country, in the US, really want this to happen. And we have politicians on either side that haven't done it, and we have Cuban Americans who've been fighting it. So that's not us. And we just want to learn about it. And I made the mistake, cultural mistake, which I won't repeat. I said, well, what kind of courses do you teach in business? And they said, we don't teach business. I said, oh, I guess that's right. What do you teach? Culture. Got it. Because you got to learn the culture before you can go into a country and start a business, right? So we're going to have some classes on the culture of Cuba, so we learn about where they're coming from. Right? And then we'll have opportunities in Cuba. The curriculum, this happens so fast, we haven't drawn a curriculum up. But you're going to have a lot of, the lecture's going to be some from me, some from Sylvia about business there, and then there'll be some from the cruise ship. Now, those of you, let's see, there's also Spanish classes. A lot of you guys already speak Spanish, but for those of us who don't speak Spanish, we're going to go to the Spanish phrase class. And if you're Hispanic background or bilingual, you can skip that class. But that'll be important that when we go there, we want to be able to try to converse a little bit, so we don't look like such ugly Americans. You know, we want to be be part of the deal. So we want to be able to ask where the bathroom is and how to order food and things like that. So there'll be that kind of stuff. It's not going to be hard. Now, when we get to the universities, that's going to be economics probably and culture. And then in the afternoons, we want to visit startup businesses. You all read about people who have like a restaurant or a small hotel in their house. How do those things work? We want to go see some of those. So that's, and the university is going to arrange those. I asked them, can you bring in guest speakers? Because we do that at our university. No, we go visit them. That's better. So the cruise ship is going to arrange, and I say going to, it's not nailed down yet, it will be, that we're going to have our own bus. And these are owned by the government, Havana Tours, and they will take us to the university, to the embassy. The embassy insisted that we meet with them first when we get to Havana. They couldn't tell us what to do, but they wanted to get to you guys first and tell you what's going on, and tell you that you're going to be their ambassadors. And this is all new to them, and for us to make this progress, we all need to kind of behave and be on our best behavior, I guess we'd say. But they're going to talk about what's going on and where it's going. And they said it could take years for this to all actually finish, could go back the way it was, many, many years ago. So I didn't answer your question real well. We'll have more information. The main thing is we'll have detailed information about what you have to do to complete the course.
So is the time spent, whether it's with the embassy or in the actual university, fall within these class blocks?
Yes.
Okay, then I'm assuming everything outside of that is essentially free time.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you like jazz, it's the Havana International Jazz
Festival that week?
Festival.
Oh, I didn't know that. I tell you, culture is a huge thing to them, and they were pretty insistent that we would attend their ballet. They're very proud of the ballet, so we might actually end up having to do that. It'll be really neat, but it's one of those things that if that makes them happy, that makes us happy. And we want to go back there once or twice a year, and so we'll have to see. Their opera and their ballets are a big deal. So do I go to ballet every week? No, of course not. But if it means something to them, then we'll do that.
Dr. Roger, don't forget salsa, okay?
Salsa, yes.
So
Very
it looks
good.
like, while we're in Santiago and Cienfuegos, I know you said we'll be visiting the
University of
university.
Businesses.
So, but pretty much we'll stay in our group, because it looks like we only
Yes.
have a certain amount of time.
You're
while
locked
we're
in.
both of
You have
those.
no free time in those times.
Both of those, yeah. But we will be out and
We'll be
about
out.
the city,
Yeah.
like you said.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We'll have lunch at not on the ship those days. We'll have lunch in town at somebody's house probably, or some restaurant they've arranged for us.
Yeah. And all those expenses will be taken care of, so you don't have to worry.
All
about
your
it.
meals are taken, the only thing's not covered is booze. We haven't covered gratuities, any kind of spending money. Let's talk about currency for a second. They have two currencies in Cuba, and the CUP is the currency that tourists use. And if you use American dollars to change that currency, they charge us a 10% surcharge, because they don't love us, all right? The people do, the government doesn't. All right. So when I go to Cuba, I take euros, and I go to my bank, and I can charge maybe 5% to do the exchange. The euro, the dollar is very strong right now, so you can get quite a bit. I think it's 1.9 is the last numbers I looked at, or 1.8 for euro. So the conversion is, and they go for dollar on US dollars, so you'll get more for the euro. So I would suggest that if you're going to convert currency, you go to your bank first and get some euros, take euros down. But dollars are fine.
Yeah, but you're not able to get Cuban currency here. You have to wait until you get there.
And you can't spend, theoretically, dollars there. You have to spend
People will
CUP.
accept it, and some, like, a lot of the street vendors and things like that will accept, US dollars, but in terms of, like, probably going into a restaurant or a bar, that sort of thing, probably not.
Are credit cards accepted?
No,
No.
there is no credit card.
Well, there is by Stonegate Bank in Palm Beach. They are the only ones, to my knowledge, in the US that if you want to go to that extent of actually getting a credit card, you could do that. But what I'm planning on doing is taking $5,000 cash with me, converting that the moment that we get off the ship in Santiago, and then I can basically play banker, not make any money off of it, but basically allow folks to do the exchange with me as they need. We'll set up a predetermined amount. And the reason for that is we have 700 people that are gonna be getting off this ship at the same time, and they've got literally 2 windows set up for currency exchange. And so we would literally waste like an hour and a half to 2 hours just getting currency exchanged, you know, right then and there. It's a little bit different whenever I went, we actually started in Havana, and they had about 20 windows, and that took, you know, a monumental amount of time. But landing in Santiago, it's literally like 2 little windows, and you're gonna be stuck there all day. So my plan is to get up super early, go and convert all the cash, and then being able.
It's like the guy who buys the first iPhone. Fred's gonna do that first.
So, yep.
Are there any security concerns that we should be
No.
aware of?
None whatsoever. It's probably the safest, one of the safest places in the world.
Okay.
I was just there in April. Yeah, I think you missed that.
And one thing to sort of bring up technology with regard to your phones. This past week, I just got notice that AT&T now has service in Cuba. So if you have AT&T, you can use it there without having to really do anything special, but the cost is ridiculously high, okay? I think it's like 50 cents for a text message.
$3 a minute.
And $3 a minute.
Yeah, I was confused for a second. I saw you, but then I was like, wondering.
So,
yeah.
so from that standpoint, you know, just keep that in mind. Now, another aspect of this, on board the ship, internet service, okay? Internet is available, but it's also pricey. For, I think, 250 minutes, it's like $62. Yeah. And so it's not the sort of thing you're going to be able to sit and you know, constantly surf the net while you're on board the ship without going bankrupt, okay? So we're not covering your internet costs, so that's one thing that you will have to pick up, you know, if you choose to stay connected to the outside world. Now, another thing that you will have access to on board the ship is cellular at sea, which if you've got, once again, a regular phone, you'll probably be able to tap into that network, but also realize the cost per minute is going to be outrageous, okay? So, you know, it's the sort of thing you may come back with a $1,200 cell phone bill, okay?
When I go out of these countries, I turn my phone on.
Yeah, so just kind of put that in the back of your mind that you're going to be literally pretty much disconnected from most technology that you're accustomed to for an entire week, okay? I know that's going to be a challenge, but, you know, you're going to have to really, you know, think about that kind of in advance to sort of what you're going to have to do to sort of deal with that. Yeah.
On the night of Friday, it says that we will be let go at 4, and does the ship stay?
Yeah, the ship stays in port all night, Friday night, and then doesn't leave until Saturday afternoon at, I think it's 4 o'clock.
Is that the same for the other days? Or
No, you're literally, like, in Santiago de Cuba, you're there from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and then the ship leaves. And then you're sailing until Wednesday afternoon at 2 p.m. They let you off the ship until 8 p.m. Then you're back on the ship, and then you're sailing again.
Are those the hours that we are like free to roam?
No.
No. These are the hours we're here and we're in class. So there's no free time in Santiago or in Cienfuegos. Okay, all of that is 100% committed to class time. On Friday, we have class Friday morning, I believe it's from like 8 until 5 or 6, but then after that, what we have done purposely is said, okay, you're free Friday evening to do whatever you want to do, you're free all day Saturday to do whatever you want to do, and you're just going to be back on the ship by 4 p.m. Now, can you stay out all night in Havana? Yes, technically, okay? I wouldn't inherently recommend it, but you know, you're able to do so, okay? But it's the sort of thing that if you come back at like 3 or 4 in the morning, you're gonna be knocking on the doors to have the customs folks let you in to get back on the ship, so.
That is the question, what time do we have to be back?
You don't have to be. It's just that.
Before they close the gate.
They're gonna close the gate probably, I would assume, you know, midnight, 1 o'clock, but they're still there. It's just that you're gonna literally have to bang on the doors to
And
allow you.
Friday night, we may have to go, you know, we may go to the valley, and that'll take up a couple hours of our time. But if it makes them happy, and maybe they don't have a performance that night, we don't know yet, but I want to just kind of warn you ahead of time. So, let's talk about dress. Everything is casual, okay, but we're not gonna probably go to the university dressed in shorts. Maybe just, you know, casual slacks, and you can wear a polo shirt or something.
So we don't need to bring suits or.
No.
I'm gonna bring, hey, how are you? Tom's your right. I've heard so much about you. Alejandro, we'll introduce him just a second here. I'll bring a sport jacket just to have it, because the president of the university is also going on the trip, President Hamburg, and his wife Shannon. So I will have a jacket. He will, he's gonna go with us he'll be on our bus for the classes, and he'll want to meet the university president. So we're gonna get kind of the red carpet treatment, not because of Fred and I and Sylvia, because of George, but he's a great guy, and come on, you're right, we're just having a finish this. So he'll be along. So again, dress-wise, I'd have one semi-dressy outfit, like maybe we do the ballet thing, but then as far as on the ship, it's shorts and t-shirts, that's what I'll be wearing. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the specifics in replacing the class as far as registering for?
Yeah.
You're gonna register for a real estate class. It turns out that in Dr. Forgy's department, they have a special, what do you call it, special topics class. We have the class number, and as soon as you're accepted to the trip, you'll go to your advisor and register for it.
Yeah, we've already got everything set up, so once again, I'll be the contact person on that to get you actually registered in the course.
You can give a list to the advisors?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, so that's even easier. So once you make your deposit, we'll then enroll you in the course.
And I'm just curious, as far as it pertains to the entrepreneurship program, is trade management the only option to replace along with sales management?
Those are the only two.
Trade management?
There's a possible, we hadn't run into it yet, we have a social networking course, and it's, we think it's pretty important in the curriculum, but that's our only swing course left. There's really 3 courses. I think our preference is you go to the international trade, because we're doing international on this trip.
Right.
And then if you want to audit Miguel's course, and so you don't miss anything in the program, you can do that for free.
So it will be different classes basically for like international trade and the ones that are doing the sales marketing? Or is it just like?
No, it'll in essence be a replacement course.
Okay.
You can replace those different courses, but all the entrepreneurship students will do the same thing in the classes.
And the other question is pertaining to that real estate class we would register for. It would be normal process as far as the fees and costs.
Everything's exactly the same.
So if you have some sort of a university discount, that'll be applied towards that class.
But you need to make sure they understand that. Obviously, let the advisors know that. The answer is yes.
Okay.
It's just a regular tuition. And I can tell you, we won't get into all that, but a lot of these programs have a surcharge, and we were able to negotiate that out.
For anyone that's on financial aid, will they be able to recover any of the costs?
It's a class.
Okay.
It's a class.
When do you have it?
Yeah, so we would just add the course for like international trade, it costs $2,024, we just add it to that.
Well, okay.
Add that.
What you're gonna be doing, and we will be doing it for you, is we will add real estate, REE 5866.
We're gonna do it. I
Okay.
thought you had to do it. We're gonna do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll be adding it now, and then what will happen is in your program of work or your degree plan, in essence, the course, like the sales management or whichever course it is that you're substituting, this real estate course will substitute for that course.
Awesome.
Will our advisors be aware of
Yeah,
this?
no, we've already, don't talk to your normal advisor, we've already.
Wait, there are no normal advisors.
Yeah, no, what we've done is we've already set up one specific advisor to handle all of this,
Okay.
okay? And they will take care of changing your degree plan, they will take care of.
Yeah, Fred's ahead of me on this one. That's good.
Okay, so on purpose, because we know that there's probably about 10 different advisors down there, and every single one of them would probably create chaos.
So Fred, we ought to make mention to them, we didn't think of this kind of thing, that's not gonna be a problem, but you ought to alert them on the way in.
Yeah.
So they pick it up.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll get that information once we're accepted.
You're gonna be corresponding a lot with me, okay? I'm really gonna be your point person on virtually from beginning to end. So, in terms of, probably the best thing is you're gonna be an email contact, phone contact, stopping by and seeing me, and we will get you taken care of one by one and get it resolved, okay?
I think that, listen, I'm not trying to close you guys, but the real message here tonight is that if you wanna get this deposit in, don't do it Monday. Get it in this week, and then we're gonna sit down. If we get oversubscribed, which we don't know, we have a group of students who are management students who would very much like to go on the trip, and that's our backup to fill the boat. But it looks like we may not need them, because entrepreneurship students have first dibs at this. So don't wait on that.
How many slots do you have?
There's 10 for each program, but could be that we can do a few more. I don't wanna get into that tonight, it's too confusing.
It's a little bit of a wiggle room. The short answer is this: the bus has 32 seats. okay? But of that 32 seats, we have myself, we have Dr. Trudeau, Dr. Orta, the president, his wife, a couple of other folks. So the reality is, we've got, about 10 students from my program, the real estate program, and about 10 students from the entrepreneurship.
And we'll talk to your group too. There's even a possibility, I didn't really want to get it, just so you're aware of it, that we can put a third person in the room if they want to do that. Because there's a little bit of wiggle room, but not much. Right now, the answer is 10 per program, and we may be able to get that to 23 total, 24, and I got to fight with Fred to, he gets some, I get some kind of deal. Okay? Yes.
Is the course journal the only deliverable?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But I want you to take that seriously. That's not a to-the-fluke situation.
We're going to talk about that more deep, but basically what it will boil down to is you're going to do a written online blog, okay? And we'll, help you out in terms of getting that set up. But if you go to something like blogger.com or blogspot.com, you would set up a blog, and then day by day, as you have sessions with whoever your speakers are, you're going to be doing effectively a summary of what they had to say, and then offering your own insights as to what was covered there. Any sort of site visits, you're going to include pictures that you've collected throughout the trip and post those to the blog.
And so if you can't do that, we're going to teach you how to do that.
Yeah, and so by the end of the course, you will have a nice portfolio of the trip as to literally a documented version of what you've done, what you've experienced, what you've learned, who you've dealt with, that sort of thing.
Okay, just 1 second. While we live from Santiago and we are traveling to Cienfuegos, we can have a chat together in the boat. What was your impression? What are your questions regarding what we saw? So we would have that inside communication.
Yeah, there are plenty of areas on board the ship for us to meet on a regular, consistent basis. So, it's not an issue of being able to find a place or a time to give them.
Here's something else. I like to go to spinning class. They have spinning classes on this boat. So bring your shoes. I'm going to be out there sweating if I can, because we'll be eating bad food the whole time. Poor Sylvia, we wanted her to talk to us about Cuba. More questions though. You have an answer.
I have a question. Nope.
You're good?
Yeah, I'm good.
You're good?
Just as far as submitting that blog, how much time are we given after the trip to the...
Basically, what you should be able to do, if you think about it, we're going to be leaving here, Saturday at 4 p.m. and getting back here Sunday. You should have really been keeping up with it the whole trip, because you're going to have the days at sea to be able, as you can see, a block of time. So there's really no reason why you shouldn't be able to have it done by the time we get back to Miami on Sunday morning.
So knowing my students.
But to post it online, internet.
Once again, the only time that you're going to need the internet connection is to upload it.
You just cut
Oh,
and
you
paste it.
used to do it in Word and then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you do all your writing.
Knowing my students, who all want to do it from here to here, we're not going to recommend that. You're going to hate the course, sorry.
But the one is, take all the pictures that you're going to take, have all the write-ups that you're going to have from each day chronicling the trip, and then at the end, all you're really going to have to do is just cut and paste into the.
And you can record every day your.
And Fred, we'll have a little rubric form before we leave, so you know what you're doing.
And the nice thing is you can embed within the blogs, you can embed video, you can embed audio, you can embed pretty much anything, any sort of media that you want.
So you can actually documentary this.
Yep, that's the idea.
The whole idea.
If you sell it, we get 10%.
Will this grade be for fall 16 or for winter 17?
Winter. Yeah, because technically fall ends on December the 10th. And so this begins basically, so this will be, technically you are registering for a winter class.
We'll get
Winter
grade under the winter.
Right.
Or whatever. Okay.
Now Sylvia, anything about Cuba? Because here we got you all the way out here to come see us.
No, okay, basically, well, I'm Cuban, I have been here 16 years, almost 17 years. I have been working for NOVA for all the time, 16 years and something. I used to be in the international trade, import-export, for many years. So yes, in Cuba, we teach trade, and we have faculty of economy, so it's not totally. He's my grandson, and he just came from Cuba. So I came almost 20 years ago, but he just came 8 months ago. So I wanted to share also places to go to Havana, and we can meet again with him, so he can exchange.
Anything you want to
where
add
go.
while we're talking about this?
Yeah, okay. You were talking about the economics faculty. That's part of the University of Havana. There's like three major universities in Havana right now. There's an engineer one that is on the west side of the city, is way inside the city. Nothing close to the center of the Havana. There's the University of Havana that is right in the middle of the city, and it has, since it was a real small one, a lot of the faculties are scattered around the city, such as the economics one that's where it's close to the university, but you can find that right there.
So I completed my bachelor's degree there, and I was able to do the MIBA that was offered in Hayazinga, so I was well prepared and ready to go. So it's not called entrepreneurship because that's not encouraged. That's within the blood of Cuban and people from the island. So that's it. So I was connected with NOVA, as I told you before, because of a field trip from Hayazinga. I was teaching at the Foreign Trade Institute of Havana. I have been disconnected for 18, 19 years. I don't know how it is working, but I'm trying to find out. And if there's something interesting for us, maybe we can bring a small group at least there. What we are planning for Havana, and we have started with his help, some kind of connection, are real estate companies that are totally private. They have fairly good websites that we will share with you so you can visit them before we meet with them. So, and the other enterprise that we, after we discuss, it's kind of developing largely is advertising.
Yeah, there's
Yeah, please, come on.
Okay.
okay. In Cuba, like 2 years ago, in the matter of entrepreneurship, there was a huge blow. Everything started to blossom really fast because the government allowed Cuban people to start their own businesses. The type of businesses that they started to allow were changing throughout the time. The first one was just you could open a cafeteria on your place, like on your window. That was the first thing that started at the moment. Of course, it evolved to restaurants, private restaurants, to nightclubs. Everything went changing, and of course, since everything started, there was the problem of no one knowing what was new, where the things were, and that opened another side of the businesses that were the advertising part. All of that is pretty new in Cuba, but the most advanced entrepreneurship attempts in the country are mostly on that part. All of the service part, nightclubs, restaurants, and the advertising part. There's a growing number of magazines built entirely by private people. No, they cannot print the magazines. They're all in digital format. There is a couple of apps, iOS apps, Android apps, that has like a catalog of all the businesses in the country. Ooh. And that's how they get their money, because you go to the person that has the restaurant and they tell you, I want everyone to know where I am, I want everyone to know my menu. What we have here is Yelp, all of that, but based on their country. And a huge part of that has begun, and it is possible because of something they call the package, el paquete. We don't have internet in Cuba, so what people do is certain individuals with internet access and cable access, they record and download every single show you can imagine that's right now on television.
Wow.
In every part of the world. There's 1 terabyte conglomerate of information. It's all data. Every week it gets spread throughout the country. Every week. It's really complex to understand, but that's how Cuba gets all the information besides the regular or official media. That's the one that we have like 5 TV channels and 2 newspapers. And that's the official information that you should receive. But other than that, this package is pretty much moving, how everything is moving, and that's how the advertising goes. In that package, you can get all those apps, all those magazines, and everything.
I could list this all out, but we ran out of time. I'm
Yeah.
so sorry. Will you come back again?
Of course, anytime
good.
you know.
That's
So
all
this
done,
is-
son?
I'm gonna try to get you with some of the guys
Oh,
that
great.
worked before.
Some of these people have classes to go to. So
Okay.
thank you for coming. I'm gonna be around today and all day tomorrow and Friday. It's hard to find a president on Friday, but we will both be here Friday because you will have some questions. Just feel free to contact us. And then for the track phone,
Before you leave, if you're planning on going on the trip, make sure you signed one
Yeah.
of the two, information sheets, so that at least I've got that information, so I can get in touch with you and know that you were here and go from there.
yeah, don't leave without doing that. And get the deposit in so we can start counting heads. And then,
Yeah. And
Wendy?
also, if you've got your signed releases, I'll take those, and if you want an actual copy of it, I've got extra blanks if you want one.
Here is my email in case you want
we'll
to
make the room
contact me.
arrangements. If you're gonna, when you share a room, we'll make the arrangements work. We have to women there tonight. So we'll make that happen. If not,
October 31st.
for some reason, the old guys
Monday.
just, okay. Thanks for coming, everybody. Look forward to seeing you.
I checked my information down here, so
Yeah. And put down in parentheses track phone so he will know.
You've been speaking to Maria Bellatini.
Yes, I have.
Okay. So, in terms of availability, what does it actually look like?
We're not gonna know till we get deposits.
Okay, so it's all contingent on deposits.
Now, is there anybody who